Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. What I'm about to tell you is going to sound like science fiction, but I assure you, it is happening right now. Scientists are scrambling, and the rules of physics as we know them are being questioned. The story starts with this object, 3IA Tilas. It's an interstellar visitor, just passing through our solar system. We've seen a couple of these before, like Oumuamua and Borisov. So at first, astronomers were just excited to study it. But then, things got weird. 3 days ago, the Hubble Space Telescope captured images of 3I Atlas that have thrown the entire astronomical community into a state of confusion, bordering on panic. Because what they saw, it just shouldn't be possible. The object has a tail. Comets have tails, right? No big deal. Except this tail is pointing the wrong way. Look, here's how it's supposed to work. A comet gets near the sun's heat and solar wind blast material off its surface, and that material streams away from the sun, creating a tail. The tail always points away from the sun. It's basic physics. Gravity, solar pressure. It's one of the most fundamental rules of how things move in space. But the tail on 3I Atlas isn't pointing away from the sun. It's pointing forward, in the exact direction the object is traveling. That's not how gravity works. That's not how solar wind works. That's not how anything is supposed to work. Subscribe to the channel now, because you're going to want to be the first to know as this story develops. Let's get started. So, let me set the stage. 3I Atlas was first spotted back in October 2024. For a few months, it acted more or less like you'd expect. It was on a path that would take it through our solar system and back out into deep space. Its brightness was a little odd, its rotation a bit too regular, but nothing to sound the alarms over. Then, in January of this year, it started to develop a fuzzy cloud, a coma, like a normal comet. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Mystery solved. It's just a comet. But the coma kept growing, and that's when things took a turn. The first clue that something was seriously wrong came from an amateur astronomer in Japan. He was taking long exposure photos and noticed this faint structure. Not behind the object, but in front of it. At first, people thought it was a glitch, a processing error. But then other skywatchers, all over the world, with different equipment, started seeing the exact same thing. This got the professionals' attention. Major observatories turned their powerful instruments toward 3IA TLAs, trying to figure out what was going on. And the images Hubble sent back, they are both stunning and, frankly, terrifying. I'm going to show you them right now. You can see the bright core of 3IA TLAs, and right there, extending forward, is a long, sharp, clearly defined tail. It looks almost like a beam, stretching for at least 15,000 kilometers in front of the object. When these images were first revealed to a group of planetary scientists, the room reportedly went silent. Everyone in that room knew they were looking at the impossible. So, what could it be? The first idea was an optical illusion, but the math doesn't work. We've seen it from multiple angles. It's real. The second theory was maybe a comet jet, a blast of gas from the surface. But jets are small, chaotic, and caused by sunlight. This structure is huge, organized, and not pointing where the sun's heat would cause a jet. What about a collision? Maybe it's hitting gas and dust as it flies through space, creating a plume. Again, the math doesn't hold up. The space between stars is just too empty for that to happen on this scale. Let's look closer at the tail itself. The spectroscopy data, which tells us what it's made of, is even weirder. It's got the usual comet stuff water, carbon monoxide. But the ratios are all wrong, and the gas is way too hot. It's as if the gas is being heated from inside the object itself. This led to the idea of cryovolcanism, think ice volcanoes. It's possible. We've seen it on moons in our own solar system, but that requires an internal heat source. Moons get that heat from the gravitational pull of their giant planets. 3I TLAs is all alone in the void. There's no known natural way for it to be generating this much internal heat. And that leaves us with a theory that nobody wants to say out loud. But everyone is thinking, what if the heat source isn't natural? What if this forward-pointing tail isn't a tail at all? What if it's exhaust? Propulsion? What if we are looking at an engine? I know how that sounds. But think about it. An interstellar object with an unknown origin, weird rotation, and unexplained heat. And now, a directed, beam-like structure pushing out in its direction of travel. If you saw that on a satellite we built, you'd know exactly what it is. A powered spacecraft. The implications are staggering. We are looking at something that is crossing the vast emptiness between stars under its own power. And it's here, in our backyard. We don't know what it is, where it came from, or why it's here. But what we do know is that 3i8LAS is rewriting the book on what's possible. And we are here to witness it. This story is unfolding in real time, and we'll be covering every new development. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next update. See you in the next video. Are we willing to apply that same logic to an object that came from outside our solar system? Are we willing to seriously consider the possibility that this object, 3i Atlas, isn't natural at all? There's a famous saying in science, popularized by Carl Sagan. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And it's a great rule to live by. If you're going to claim something that flips our entire understanding of the universe on its head, you better have some rock-solid proof. Right now, for 3IA Atlas, we don't have that definitive proof. What we have is a mountain of really strange data that doesn't fit any natural explanation we VA come up with. But that raises a question. When every natural explanation you test fails, when every conventional theory has a gaping hole in it, at what point do you start taking the unconventional theories seriously? At what point does the extraordinary claim actually become the most logical explanation? This is where something called the Galileo Project comes in. It was started in 2021 by Avi Loeb, that Harvard professor who first suggested the interstellar object Oumuamua might be artificial. The entire goal of the Galileo Project is to scientifically search for evidence of extraterrestrial technology, not with wild speculation, but with careful, rigorous observation and analysis. So, when the first images of 3i8L, AS and its bizarre forward-pointing tail came out, Loeb and his team immediately sprang into action, requesting more observation time on multiple telescopes. They're not shouting, it's Alia. From the rooftops, they're saying the data is consistent with that possibility, and that it absolutely warrants a serious investigation. Of course, other scientists are more skeptical, and for good reason. They point out that we've been surprised by nature before. Just because we don't understand something doesn't automatically mean it's alien. There could be exotic physical processes we haven't even discovered yet that could explain what we were seeing. And they're right. The universe is full of things that once seemed impossible: black holes, pulsars, gamma-ray bursts. Maybe 3i Atlas is just showing us something brand new about how interstellar objects work, expanding our understanding of physics. But what if it's not that? What if the reason this looks like artificial propulsion is because it is artificial propulsion? What would that even mean? For us, first, and most obviously, it would mean we are not alone. That's the biggest discovery in human history, right there. If 3i8LAS is artificial, then some civilization, somewhere in the galaxy, built it. Second, it would tell us something incredible about whoever built it. This object has been traveling through the harsh environment of interstellar space for who knows how long. Thousands of years. Millions. And it's still functioning. That propulsion system, if that's what it is still active. That implies a level of technology far, far beyond our own. We can barely keep our own probes, like Voyager 1, running for a few decades. This thing might have been going for millions of years and it's still powered. Third, and this is the one that really gets you thinking, we'd have to ask Wheezy, is it a probe sent to explore and gather data? Is it an interstellar beacon? A message in a bottle, meant to be found by civilizations like ours? Or is it something else entirely, with a purpose we can't even begin to comprehend? And fourth, if this one is artificial, how many more are out there? 3.1 is only the third interstellar object we've ever detected. Our ability to spot these things is still very limited. There could be thousands, even millions of them passing through our solar system completely unnoticed. How many of those could be artifacts from other civilizations, just silently floating by? These are the questions driving researchers to demand more resources to study 3I. They want more telescope time, more detailed analysis. And some are even proposing we send a space probe to intercept it, to get close-up images. Maybe even land on it. Because if there is even a tiny chance that this is our first contact with alien technology, we can't just let it fly by and disappear back into the void without finding out. But here's the problem. 3I Atlas is moving incredibly fast, about 35 kilometers per second. That's over 125,000 kilometers per hour. At that speed, it'll be out of the inner solar system in just a few months. By the end of 2025, it'll be too far and too faint for even our best telescopes. Launching a mission to catch it would be an immense challenge. We'd need a spacecraft that could match its velocity, which would require an enormous amount of energy, and we'd have to do it all in record time. That's a tough sell when most of the scientific community is still skeptical. So what's happening right now? There's a major push within NASA and the European Space Agency to prioritize more observations. Proposals are in for fast-track telescope time. There is talk of using the James Webb Space Telescope to see if it can tell us more about the object's heat signature. Others want to point radio telescopes at it to listen for any kind of transmission, but there's also resistance. Some think this is a waste of valuable resources, chasing a mystery that probably has a boring, natural explanation. And hey, they might be right. In a few months, a physicist might publish a paper that perfectly explains the forward tail, and we'll all feel a bit silly. But what if they're wrong? What if this is one of those moments in history where we had the chance to make first contact, and we missed it because we were too cautious, too afraid to look foolish? Think about the WOW signal. Back in 1977, a radio telescope picked up a powerful 72-second signal from deep space. The astronomer who found it was so stunned he just wrote "wow" on the data printout. To this day, we don't know what it was. A natural blip, an equipment error, or a genuine message. We'll never know, because by the time we looked again, it was gone. 3-1 Atlas could be our generation's signal. A brief glimpse of something extraordinary. If we don't study it now, we might regret it forever. This forward-pointing tail is the key. It's the piece of the puzzle that just doesn't fit. And in science, you don't ignore the things that don't fit. You investigate them. That's how we make the biggest discoveries. Someone notices something weird, and instead of dismissing it, they pursue it relentlessly. So what's the truth about 3I? I genuinely don't know. Maybe it's a comet with some bizarre property we've never seen. Maybe it's some strange electrical interaction with the solar wind. Or maybe, just maybe, we're looking at technology. Evidence that we're not alone. Maybe we're looking at a probe sent by a civilization that existed millions of years ago. Maybe they're long gone, but their creation is still out here, traveling, functioning, a silent monument to what they once were. That thought fills me with a strange mix of hope and sadness. Hope that intelligence can arise elsewhere in the universe, and sadness that even great civilizations can end. The images are publicly available. You can look at them for yourself. You can see that strange forward tail. Maybe you'll see something the experts missed. Or maybe you'll just feel that same sense of awe and confusion that I do. Because that's what science is all about, not having all the answers, but being excited by the questions. 3-1 Atlas is out there, right now, moving through our solar system. And in just a few months, our chance to study it will be gone. Whatever this object is, natural or artificial, we have to learn everything we can, while we still can. The universe doesn't offer many opportunities like this. Subscribe to see what happens next as we follow this incredible story. Thanks for watching.